So when it comes to social media, what we're seeing is an increase in messaging or people talking, but less about broadcasting. And that simply means that on Facebook, it used to be about, let me tell everybody what I'm doing. And we're seeing actually slight declines in that, but we're seeing increases in places like Snapchat or WhatsApp where people share with smaller groups, but in higher frequency. We then went and talked about mobile. We talked about the rise of phablets, which is the concept of a phone and a tablet together. We talked about bendable, flexible LCD technology that allows your phone to flex and bend, so your future phone could actually turn into a tablet. And then we moved into other topics. Some of them were augmented reality, which is looking at a lens and actually putting information on top of that. So Audi, for instance, their latest owner's manual, you can actually pull out your phone and actually look through your camera and learn everything about your car. We then went into 3D printing, which I think is pretty interesting. So I mentioned the ring, and right now you can have 3D printers print a mug, a lot of different things. In the future, they'll actually be able to print food. They'll be able to print circuits, so we could actually print a new microphone for you. And then we even talked about 3D printers on a larger scale that can print houses. So there's a company that built houses in 2.5 hours for under $5,000 with a large 3D printer. And then we also talked about the first printed car that just came out this week that was printed in 2 days, which is pretty amazing. And then we pushed the envelope a little bit more. We talked about health. So we talked about connected pills. So when you take pills in the future, they'll have chips in them. And it will automatically, as you're taking medicine, know whether it's working or not. And then we even talked about those 3D printers printing out organs in the future, which may seem scary or crazy, but at the same time, there are a lot of people who need transplants or other things, and in the future, technology is going to solve for that. So the takeaway was, in the future, our kids or grandkids will start to live to 100. And then we ended up with time travel, right? So it starts with Back to the Future. And so when it comes to time travel, we talked about how quickly we're going to move in the future. Right now, we are limited to how quickly we can move from city to city, right? Many of us here are local businesses, but the only reason we're local is because I can't get to the other side of the globe tomorrow. Or maybe I can't speak a different language. In the future, we're going to solve for all of that. So we talked about a couple things that are coming. There's already maglev trains coming to the eastern seaboard, which, for instance, go 300 miles per hour. So you'll be able to get from DC to Baltimore in 15 minutes within the next 5 years. We talked about Hyperloop and some new airplanes that can travel up to 4,000 miles per hour. So that means that you could conceivably get from LA to New York in 1 hour. Which is pretty amazing. And then we also talked about space travel. So you have companies like Virgin Galactic. They're sending the first spacecrafts to space with people. As a consumer, you can go to space next year. It's $250,000 for 6 minutes. That seems crazy, but in the future, that will be much less. But the point is, right now we are limited by how fast we can move. In the future, we're going to move at a much faster pace. So just a few of the highlights that we covered today. Yep, so ultimately we were talking about trends that are maybe 4 or 5 years out. We are a firm believer in a good quote from Wayne Gretzky, which he says, a good hockey player plays where the puck is, a great hockey player plays where the puck's going to be. And so as a business, what we're thinking about is not what is our customer doing right now, it's what's our customer going to do in the future. And that's why we talk about technology. Ultimately, I think a good way to think about it is all of our businesses get older, right? We're just aging, but our customer stays the exact same age, right? Especially in the wedding industry, our customer is always the same age. So if you look at, for instance, social media, your customer of today is likely very much on Facebook. Your engaged couple in 2017 is going to be someone who actually spent maybe more time on Tumblr. And your engaged couple of 2020 is likely someone who spent a lot more time on Snapchat. So understanding those trends and where people are going is the key to success. So we always say, there's a good saying, which is, in the past it was, pioneers get shot, settlers get rich. Pioneers get shot, settlers get rich. But I think in today's world, it is pioneers that reap the rewards, settlers that get left in the dust. And so that's why we talk about technology, which is, I do think that wedding professionals will start to have 3D printers, especially if you're a planner. You'll start to build out landscapes of your seating plan in 3D. I think when we think about payments and mobile, all wedding professionals need to make sure that they can actually process payments on the fly, on the go. It's not going to be about paper and plastic credit cards in the future. When it comes to social, where they spend their time. So I think each of those trends, while they may not connect right away, over time, being able to move faster, being able to think about 3D printing, think about augmented reality, all of those things actually I do think factor into businesses. Always a pleasure, and we're excited to be here at Wedding MBA for another year, and hope to see you again next year.